Hi, welcome to Dr. Brainwaves. We're back again. I'm Dr. Rena Azar. This is Dr. Susan Raschal. Today she's going to talk about a medical condition that is caused by three different things that don't seem that connected. Sunlight, vibration, and water.
It is yet three different types of urticaria. Again, urticaria is a medical term for hives, red, raised, itchy bumps. But you don't always have red, raised, itchy bumps in these conditions. For an example, vibratory, usually you don't have the red, raised, itchy bumps. You may have areas that look like it's swelling, but it's immediately upon vibration, you will get the sensation. And what I'm talking about is if you've ever seen a jackhammer worker, that can cause it. Or if you're driving long distance and they haven't done a great job keeping up the roads, so you're gonna hold on to that steering wheel and it's going to be vibrating in your hands, you can develop those symptoms. In fact, it can be hereditary type and also non-familial types. And what's interesting is when someone comes into the office and we're trying to determine a diagnosis, whether or not they have vibratory urticaria, we'll actually take like egg beater and a vortex and we will put that on their skin for 5 minutes and see what happens to their skin. It is not a common condition at all, but there's one condition that's even more rare, and that's aquagenic urticaria. So immediately upon contact with water, a person will break out in hives, red, raised, itchy bumps. And unfortunately, it doesn't matter the temperature of the water, so this is unlike cold-induced urticaria, which is due to cold things, and that can be cold water or cold cans of beverages or drinking cold things. So that would be a cold contact, or not cold contact, but contact with water of any temperature can cause this condition. And typically what happens is we'll bring somebody in and we will put distilled water on their skin and look to see if they break out. Fortunately, this is exceedingly rare. There's been less than 20 cases that have been reported in the US. So fortunately, it's not common. And then sunlight. So we call that solar urticaria. So what we will do is identify the wavelength of the sun. So we think that it may be due to an antibody, an IgE antibody, which is the antibody responsible for allergy. And it may be stimulated, we're not sure, but by photoallergens. So this is a condition that, depending on the wavelength of the sun, the photo wavelength of the sun, it can cause a condition that breaks them out in hives. I actually have a patient who has this condition, and so she did what lots of people do in other countries, is when the sun was shining, she would use an umbrella, because every time the sun hit her skin, she would break out and red, raised, itchy bumps. So it was specifically due to the sun exposure. So she couldn't be around sun at all. So she was very, very careful about covering up her skin with clothing. And then, as I said, she would walk around with an umbrella all the time. In fact, one of the things that I had to do was write a letter stating that she needed to park her car in the parking garage, because if she walked to work, and the walk from where most of the employees had to park was about a block away. And by the time she got to work, she would be covered in hives. So she had solar urticaria. So those are three types of urticaria. The sun, again, these are not common types, vibratory, as well as aquagenic or water-triggered urticaria.
Thanks for visiting us at Dr. Brainwaves.